Welcome, everybody, to Full Spectrum Universe. My name is Rob Yox, and today is a special day for Full Spectrum Universe. We have a co-host by the name of Clarence Mitchell, somebody near and dear to my heart. He is a gentleman that actually got me started in this whole game of podcasting and being on the radio. He gave me my first chance. So I've always enjoyed his company. I'm pretty sure you're going to too. So let's go to the intro. Welcome back. Clarence, how are you, my friend? How are you?
Very good, Rob. Thank you very much.
I want to introduce everybody to Clarence Mitchell. He is the radio host of Closer Encounters, also part of the group Ufology is My Religion. And why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Clarence?
Well, what can I say? I've been doing this for umpteen years, it seems like, anyway. Quite a while. Gee whiz. I'm not really sure what to say, except, I've had you on my show way back during Blog Talk Radio days. That's where we ran into each other, which is pretty cool. Yep. Back then, it was a whole different kind of show, though. It was strictly just radio. It wasn't live on the air, And
that's true. I started as a call. I started calling into the show. I remember that you would give the number out, and I was like, "All right, I'm going to wait online and see if I can get this guy to talk to me a little bit." I actually found you on an app called Podcast Addict, and I went and I found the number to call you because you gave it out on air, and then from after that first time, that's when I found you on Facebook, and we connected on Facebook, and that was probably close to almost 6 years ago. We've been friends ever since.
Oh, yeah. Well, my first show on Blog Talk was back 2010, I think, something of that nature. Yeah.
You're coming up on the 10-year anniversary, bud.
Pretty close, yeah.
That's like the silver age of radio right there. Are you kidding me?
It seems that way, yeah. Well, then I went from there. I was doing Google Voice with that, and then from Google Voice, we were going live on YouTube with Google Live, but it would go to the YouTube platform. So that's how I started that out. And then from there, we went into the Facebook thing, and I stayed on Facebook for quite a while, And then, of course, we had Spreaker in between that, too. So, I mean, I've been around.
Spreaker was a bit of a hassle, though. Once we got to StreamYard, it was way better.
Oh,
way
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It was definitely.
I've tried many different platforms, Zoom, Fire, whatever the hell that other one was, But StreamYard is definitely the best.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, you have so many different options while you're in StreamYard, especially if you pay for like the $50 a month package, you get everything.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, now they're on 1080p. You can stream, if you get the full package. So
I think that's what we're doing right now, actually. I think we're on 1080p right now because my cell phone does 1080p now. My new computer does it. So I figure let's go all the way and make it as, let's make it go as far as we can. But one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on again, not only just to bring you on because I've been on your show so many times that it's always a pleasure to have you here. You are a contact experiencer. We've done a lot of different types of shows. We actually haven't had anybody on. You're the first person who's actually had actual contact. So, we're going to go into that story and all that. Why don't you tell people where they can find you? Well, in the beginning, we're going to do it again at the end. I'm going to run some banners for you so they can see exactly where it is. Right. If I missed any, you let me know. But
not a problem. Basically, if you go to YouTube and look up Closer Encounters, of course, it's kind of hard to find it because I don't have a whole lot of subscribers. And so when people search for me, you might find like one video you know what I'm saying, that's dated back a few months ago. You know what I mean? So you'll see a lot of Closer Encounters of the Third Kind of stuff, but it's very hard, you know, right now to find me on YouTube. But I am there, if you can, you know, locate it. And then, of course, I'm on Facebook. You can, you know, always find me through Clarence Mitchell or Closer Encounters, which is our page, you know, our group page.
I got that too. Closer Encounters Radio.
There you
Coming
go.
up right at the bottom. One way I did find it a little bit easier is if you go to Closer Encounters episode, and then it'll go into your actual episodes as opposed to just looking up Closer Encounters. I know that for a fact because Closer Encounters of the Third Kind doesn't have any episodes.
Right.
So as soon as you hit episodes, it'll break it down a little bit and it'll give you an easier ability to find you.
Well, it's good to know. Cool.
Absolutely. Your mother is in the audience. I want to say hi to Mrs. Mitchell. She actually just joined the group today. So another thing I wanted to mention before we get started is the influx of members that we've had in our group. I am so thankful. The one thing I really want my group to be is the biggest exchange of knowledge on the internet. And I keep preaching that because I feel that everybody needs a place to come and find information that isn't mainstream science or mainstream ufology, mainstream anything. We are off base. We delve in just about everything. We try and stay away from politics. Sometimes it'll come up in there, depending on what we're talking about, as in conspiracy theories and things like that. But I just want to thank everybody that joined. Please, if you know anybody that is into that stuff, send them to the page. Let them join. As of right now, Facebook is actually they deemed me unworthy of inviting people to my group at the moment. They've temporarily suspended me. I guess I was getting too many people sending too many. Either that or sending too many invites out. So if you know anybody, please, go ahead and actually, I see somebody posted your YouTube channel in the
cool
comments there. I do have it in the banners as well, which we will post. See, I have it right here as well.
All I see is Facebook users. I don't know who that is, but
I'm not sure either. But that's okay. We're not gonna discriminate.
Yeah.
So so let's get into your contact a little bit, Clarence. Take me all the way back to the beginning. The first time you've ever had contact. Give us the setting, what was happening, what it felt like.
Well, as far as contact goes, I only had actually one basically contact. But as far as UFOs go, my very first inkling of UFOs or anything was when I was really young. And we lived in a very small house. It used to be an old schoolhouse, and my mom can verify this for you, being she's in the audience. Oh, Mom. Actually, she's part of this story. It had to be right around 1967. I was roughly about 6 years old, give or take, going on 7 years old. Anyway, I had a small upstairs landing. As you went upstairs, there was only one bedroom up there at the time in this house. And as you're going up the stairway, there was a small railing that had an attic door at the very head of the stairs, you know what I'm saying? And in between the railing and the wall, there was a small spot to put a bed there. So that's where my bedroom was at the top of the landing right there. And it had a big window, a regular sized farmhouse kind of window right there also. But at the top of the stairs and to the right would have been my mom and dad's bedroom, which was on the other side of the house. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at the back of the house and they're looking at the front of the house, so to speak.
Usually the way it happens when you're a child, you usually get the back of the house, right? Not the front landing to see who's coming in.
But it was just kind of a crazy setup. My sister, she had her own room downstairs in the dining room. And then my little brother had a small bedroom and plus toy room off the living room downstairs, So it was a rather compact little place, but it was 2 stories, but not a whole lot of room, upstairs. So it was quite a deal, But anyway, my father at the time worked the 3 to 11 shift. at night. So he would come home roughly between 11:30, 12 o'clock normally, whatever. But anyway, we all had pretty much gone to bed. Usually our bedtime at that age, 8 o'clock, give or take, mostly dark out usually, So we were already in bed by that time. Well, anyway, I got woke up because there was this light shining through my window, and it lit up the whole upstairs landing there. It was a reddish glow,
Mm-hmm.
and I couldn't figure out what the heck, that was, So I got up out of bed and I walked up to the window. Of course, the window's taller than I am, you know what I'm saying? And I see this orange reddish sphere going across what we had back behind our house, and beside our house was a cornfield that went all around it, And we butted right up on both sides of the house, with this cornfield back behind us that the farmer owned there. And the sphere was going across the field, and it would go across, and then it would stop, and then it would come back real slow, just back and forth, and for the longest time. And then it would center off, and it would drop down. Then it would come back up, do the same thing. This was over and over again, Now, I couldn't tell you for how long it was there. I mean, it's been a number of years now, obviously. But so
as a child, how did that make you feel? I mean, seeing these things, and not to cut you off, I apologize, but
no, that's fine.
Just like seeing those things, was there like wonderment? Well, I mean, how did you go about feeling about that?
It was
what
is
this?
Yeah, right. It was kind of scary, at first. What really freaked me out about it, and I have to laugh about it today, was my mom, of course, was in her bedroom. And I did not hear her. Maybe she had the door open. I don't know. Maybe, I'm not sure how it happened, but she come up behind me as I'm staring out there, and I about crap myself.
I'm sure.
She like put her hand on my shoulder. What is that? And I'm like, oh, geez.
Right out of your skin. Right out of your skin. It was over after that.
Exactly. That was the most funniest part. But we stood there, her and myself, and watched this thing for, I couldn't tell you how long. It was quite an ordeal. And my father came home. Of course, we couldn't sleep. We didn't, we were freaked out enough, when it finally disappeared. It just, left, and that was it,
Right.
But finally, my dad came home from work. And, of course, my mom and I ran downstairs, and we had to tell him about it. And he's like, oh, you fools, it's just a helicopter ride from the state fair. Well,
right.
No, not out in our backyard. You're not out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's what Dad explained to us, that it was just a helicopter ride. And we were seeing this orange glow, from the light underneath it or something.
I mean, that's exceptional. That's kind of a, that's a good way to put it to a child who doesn't know any better. I mean, it probably took a little bit of the ease off. You know what I mean? Like it was
right.
But that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. Now, Mom says it was about an hour. So there you go. That's what she's saying. It was about an hour we watched this thing. I know it was quite a long time. Yeah.
Right.
And it was just amazing because it kept doing the same thing back and forth. It would just slowly move across, and then it would center itself, and then it would go back down, and
right.
then it kept doing this back and forth. So, yeah, it was.
Now, here's a question. If now what you know about UFOs, now that you've studied it for so long, what do you think that it was doing? Was it surveying?
Well, I honestly, now that I think about it, it's very possible they were taking soil samples, maybe, or doing some test maneuver. Maybe they, well, it's hard to say because I can't describe it as a craft. You know what I'm saying? Because it was just a sphere.
Right.
So whatever that sphere was, this ball of energy or whatever it was, now maybe, now I don't know what the water supply is around that area.
Mm-hmm.
Now, maybe there was water nearby or something that maybe it was gathering up, or something of that nature. I'm not really sure. My mom might be able to tell you better than that, but
that's a good way
as
to
far
think
as that
about
goes.
it,
But yeah, I really couldn't tell you what it was doing there.
Omar said it was looking for you.
It could have been.
Very well could have been.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's get to the actual contact that you had. I know that was I've heard you describe it many times, but the viewers, some of your viewers, I'm sure, have heard it, but mine have not. And it's a very interesting story because, it's not something short, and you remember a lot of it.
Well, a lot of it, yes, but it stayed at home as far as I'm concerned. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, this is going 1974, 75, give or take. Right around that area. My sister and I and my brother were all at home, and my mom and dad was going to go grocery shopping that evening. So they went ahead and they went grocery shopping, and my brother took off on his bicycle to go play with a friend of his who he was, best friends with at the time. And it just left my sister and myself at home. Now I'm trying to think. I was probably around 12 years old at this time. My sister would have been 10-ish, 11-ish, 10-ish, I guess, somewhere right around there. And where we lived, there was a young girl that lived basically kitty corner in front of our house. And the road kind of Y's off there. It's like a Y. It's like a three-way street kind of thing there. And they lived like on a peninsula, so to speak.
Gotcha.
Okay. And so we went across the road, and this little girl, she wasn't even in school yet. She's probably 3, 4 years old, something like that, just a youngster. And we were playing kickball with her, just for something to do. And across the road from her house, in front of her house, there's a few other houses up along there. And in between these two houses is this giant oak tree that stood there. And we were playing kickball and stuff, and my sister was running to go get the ball. And I just happened to turn around and look up at this oak tree at the very top, and there is this giant silver craft. I mean, just it was huge, dish-shaped silver craft. You could see windows all across the front. It was just sitting there, no noise, no nothing, and about freaked me out. And I turned to my sister and I hollered. I said, "Look at that," and I put my finger up in the air. And as soon as I turned back around to point at it, it was gone, disappeared.
Wow.
No noise, nothing. Wow. Yeah.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
What was weird about that was within a couple of seconds of that sighting, the little girl's father opened the door and he hollered at her, "Get your butt in the house," Now, to this day, I don't know if he happened to see that craft. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And he got his daughter in the house, or whatever, because that's what it kind of seemed to me at the time.
It was like almost instant. Like
right,
just happened and he came running out.
That fast. Yeah. Come on, get your butt in the house, blah, blah, blah. And, he kind of slammed the door. So my sister and I, we ran back across to our house. You know what I'm saying? It's like everybody's splitting, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, my brother, who was out playing with his friend on his bicycle, he comes racing home. I mean, he's just pedaling the beat all get out, gets in the yard, and he's just white as a sheet. He's terrified, and we're like, "What's going on with you?" And he's like, "Some lady just let out a terrible scream." He says, "I don't know what it was all about," and it scared him so bad that he booked it home on his bicycle. So we're thinking that this lady's seen the same thing that we seen. You know what I'm saying?
So it's almost like multiple sightings. So
exactly, all at the same time. Right, exactly.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying that this is what happened, but it sure is pretty coincidental, if you know what I'm saying.
From what you understand of the situation.
Exactly.
From everything that happened around it, and You know, and that's the biggest thing too, is people can judge their surroundings by what they see and what they hear. So these stories, a lot of them, especially yours, is all about what people feel around them. There is a certain tenseness, and whether you're a child or an adult, but mostly as a child, you can see adults, you know, when they tense up and when things are starting to get a little strange.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Yeah.
you know, of course, go on.
Yeah. So what happened was it was starting to get dark out. And mom and dad had just gotten home. They were just coming home from grocery shopping. And I'm in the dining room. It was like a modular home. Okay. One of those split deals where they put them together. You know what I'm saying? A brand new house. And anyway, so I'm in the dining room and I'm trying to draw a picture of this thing that I saw, you know, and mom and dad came inside and I'm trying to tell them, and I think my sister was with me, you know, we're trying to tell them, you know, I seen this craft, you know, this is what it looks like, you know, and and I'm telling mom about it and everything else. Well, dad, he's just not paying attention, and he's going back and forth outside to get groceries out of the car, right? Well, in the meantime, and this is kind of funny, but it's not, somehow the door was locked when he went out, and the door shut. So he come out with this bag of groceries, you know, the armful of groceries, and he couldn't get in the house. In the meantime, mom and I and my brother and sister and all that were talking about this incident, you know, and Tim's explaining about the lady screaming and blah, blah, blah. And we're all just ecstatic, you know what I'm saying? My dad reaches up to tap on the window to tell mom to open the door, and we all hit the floor screaming.
Nerves were on end. Nerves on end at that point.
Screaming. Man, was dad pissed. What the hell is wrong with you guys? Open the goddamn door. This is bullshit. I mean, he was upset. Yeah. Oh my God. But yeah, I'm telling you, I was terrified. I'll never forget that. Mom hit her arm so hard on the counter, she almost broke her elbow. You know, I'll never forget that. But oh my gosh, what a crazy ordeal. So anyway, yeah, I was pretty freaked out. Later on that night, of course, we all got bathed up and everything. And, you know, we had to go to bed, you know, whatever, which it was summertime. So, you know, it was probably 8, 9 o'clock, you know, whatever. No school, you know, whatever. And later on that evening, I got woke up, and it's really a freaky ordeal. You know, I was basically, how do you describe it, as being paralyzed, you know? I happened to look over now. What was
sleep paralysis, they call it.
Well, that's what they call it, but that's not what it is. I mean, it's basically the same thing. But
did you feel like you were pinned down a little bit?
Oh,
like
absolutely, yeah.
Like something was on top of you with a big pressure or weight that you just, like, you probably could have moved a little, but it wouldn't have gone very far. You were just kind of like, it kept bringing you down.
Yeah, kind of like that. Except for the point, the thing is I was so scared because I couldn't move that, you know, I was trying to scream and I'm trying to rustle and I'm trying to holler, you know, everything else. And that's, you know, about the time I was trying to call for mom and dad because I didn't know what the hell was going on, you know. I'm like, you know, I just can't get anything out of my mouth. It was just horrid, you know. And then I heard this voice inside my head telling me, Clarence, you're okay. Calm down. You'll be fine, you know. And just like that, a calming sensation came over me and my heart rate went down. I wasn't scared anymore, you know what I'm saying? Everything was really, really good. And I just happened to, you know, I rolled over and I looked because it was a bunk bed. My brother's up on top. I'm on the bottom. And I rolled over and I looked, and there's 3 grays, as we know today as the grays, in my bedroom, standing there. The light's on in my room. You know, I don't know how the light got on, you know, none of that stuff.
Right.
But there they were, you know. And they told me, through my mind, not speaking, but, they're telling me things like, you're going to be fine. We got things that we want to give you, things to explain, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be safe, not to worry. And for whatever reason, I knew we were going to go through the bedroom window. Now, don't ask me why I knew this, because this is just something that, I just knew, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I told them, this is no lie, because I had a glass showcase shelf that I got from a friend of mine that sat underneath that window, and I had a bunch of model cars and stuff on it, and it was kind of flimsy. And I warned them, I said, please don't break the shelf, and don't wake up my brother, or my dad will be pissed.
That's a fact. Please don't break the shelf. My dad's going to beat my ass. This is what I come
up with, right? This is what I told him. I said, please, whatever you do, don't, don't break the glass. Don't hurt the shelving.
Mm-hmm.
I was more afraid of that happening than anything else. You know what I'm saying?
Than these people taking you through the window.
And that's it.
You're more worried about the glass shelf because of your father. And
exactly.
You didn't want to catch a whooping. I get it.
Exactly. Yeah.
I get it.
The next thing that happened, Rob, I can't tell you where I went, who I was with, none of that stuff, because it's all oblivious to me. I wake up, it's like 5 o'clock in the morning, and there I am in bed.
Wow.
Lights off. I look up, my brother's sleeping, the sound is everything. I'm looking outside, out the window, trying to see, and that was it,
So you don't even know how long you were gone for.
I have no idea.
Could have been hours, days.
Yeah.
You don't even know.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Omar actually asked as if when they spoke to you, was it in English, even though it was
perfect
mental?
Perfect English. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I mean, obviously, if an intelligent life comes to you and they want to contact you or speak to you, 9 times out of 10, I would believe that they would have enough knowledge to, if they're that advanced, to speak to you in your own language. It wouldn't be some other language or something that you're not familiar with that you would have to, basically go through and look into. I would think that they would do that because they're mostly supreme beings. If they're going to be interstellar travel, abduction, and basically taking you and not ruining the glass shelving, to get you through the window without ruining the glass shelving, they have some stuff that's going to be a little bit more advanced than most, So that's amazing. That's amazing.
It was crazy. But here's what I did. I said to myself, right, when this all happened and everything, and of course I was scared for probably a good week later. I couldn't sleep, because I was afraid they were going to come back. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
And I'm thinking, gee whiz, man, they're going to come back. They're going to take me again. I may not come back the next time. I don't know what to do,
Plus, you're a child still, too. So
exactly. You're
like
12 years old.
It's almost like a nightmare. Having a nightmare and somebody coming out of the closet at you. You just don't know.
Right.
It's up in the air.
Exactly. So I promised myself not to say anything to anybody. I didn't want the ridicule. I didn't want people, whatever. So I kind of left it at that, and I finally got to the point where I wasn't afraid anymore. And, life went on. Right. Even though I never forgot about it, I never talked about it, if you know what I'm saying,
Right.
And this went on until I was in my 20s and had gotten married after I had already graduated high school, went into the military, did 4 years, and came back, had gotten married, had my firstborn, my secondborn, and whatever. So right around 1986, 87, which is probably 10, 12, 13 years later.
Right.
I happened to be sitting at home watching the kids. The wife was working the night shift. Okay. And this program come on, like In Search Of, is one of those types of programs. Right.
Right.
And gee whiz, this guy come on here and they were talking about alien abductions of all things. And I'm like, oh, wow, I got to check this out.
Mm-hmm.
This guy told the same story exactly as what I just told you. It was so identical, Rob. You can't fake this. I mean, this was so, and I about passed out in the chair because I'm thinking, holy shit,
that's crazy.
It really did happen.
That feeling you get when you relate to somebody like that, and that connection, it almost like skips your heart for a beat, and you start to sweat a little. You're like, this
it was like reliving it all over again, listening to him. I mean, it was like,
well,
whoa. You got to be kidding me.
It validated everything that you had gone through.
Exactly.
And that's the biggest thing. That validation at that point is, in a way, it's gratifying, but in a way, it's also scary. Because now you know that this moment was actually a moment and not just a dream. And it messes with your perception of reality at that moment.
I'll tell you this. The first thing that went through my mind when I heard him talking about it and the things that he said is, there's no possible way this guy could have known that this happened to me. You know what I'm saying? Not this way. There's no way anybody could duplicate my experience. This has to be real.
Right.
There's no if and ands about it. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing that is going to prove me different on that. I mean, that's it. That's my proof,
Well, of course. And everybody has their own truth, whether people believe it or not. There is always your own personal truth. I believe it is truth, especially if you can actually validate it with somebody else's experience. There's no such thing as coincidence. Things happen for a reason. So if somebody's having the same exact experience as you are, what that means to me is that it falls in line with both people coinciding their experiences, because it's not just a coincidence that you both had the same exact experience down to detail. It's somebody doing it like that.
Exactly.
That's what that means. It is proof. Now, a question I have for you is, now going through the rest of your life, how did this whole experience? I know some people it has very lasting effects. How did this affect your entire life up till now and this point that we're speaking? I mean, was there? I'm trying to explain it in a way, but was there some kind of did it have like where you would stay away from people, or I know you were scared to tell the story, but physically and mentally, did it have an effect on your life throughout the entire life so far?
Yeah, it did. A few things, actually. Well, okay, let me tell you what happened as I was growing up after the experience, from the time that I had the experience until the time of my confirmation. I had weird things happen to me, throughout life. Okay.
Right.
I had certain things that I was gifted with, mechanically, artistry, different things like that, animal magnetism, things that you just don't understand. How do I know these things? What is it that, that I'm grasping here that no one's teaching me? You know what I'm saying? But I automatically know. It just crazy things like that, And when the confirmation happened, it all clicked. It was like, now I get it. Okay. These were the gifts they were talking about. This is what they gave me. It was like opening up. I'm not really sure how you say it. It was like a big relief. It was like, okay, now I understand,
It opened up a window to understanding of what they were talking about for you.
Right, exactly.
That gave you that, because there's always an apprehension. Let's say they tell you something's going to happen, or you're going to be inundated with certain things that you have to do.
Right.
Now that they've actually come to pass, it's sort of a relief. There's no apprehension anymore of when this is going to come. What is it going to be? The wonder is gone. So you get to live your life in a way that's, a little bit more regular, as opposed to anxiety or apprehensive.
Right. Exactly. And since that time, I always, there was just things that, other things happened to me too as a kid. Like, I'd get beat up a lot for no apparent reason. Right. It was like I was an outcast, no matter where I went or who I hung out with. It was always that way. You know what I'm saying? I was always different from everybody else. And I could never figure that out, And this is why. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So yeah, it wasn't much after that confirmation when I finally grasped that and got myself under control and got myself to thinking that, okay, this happened, this happened, this happened, this is why this happened. That's when I started opening the books, started doing some more research. Then I started getting into more programs on television, you know what I'm saying, and doing the best I could at that time. We had no internet then,
Right.
So I had to buy a lot of material, to read. I watched Linda Moulton Howe. I was listening to her, and
she is very good, by the way.
Coast to Coast.
Very good. Coast to Coast is amazing too.
Yeah, well, she was with Art Bell back then, see? And her and Art had a radio show, so I would make sure I hear it every night, it was on. So this is what I was doing, and it was just crazy stuff, So that's basically how it changed my life and how I got into this,
Right.
But yeah, it was.
Well, you listening to those shows is kind of like you forging your path to where you are right now.
Yeah.
If you think about it, there was a grand scheme to it. Maybe you didn't know it at the time, but now look at what you do. You do exactly what they were doing to pass that information on to the next person, which is super commendable. That's really great. And look, you've affected somebody like me who wants to carry that torch and keep going.
Cool.
But that's the truth, and you've affected people in that way. And maybe your story and people hearing your story will help them to come out with their story, because they do feel like that they're apart from people, and they do feel like they're going to get ridiculed by putting that story out there.
Right.
The one thing you should never hold back for people is knowledge and information. Whether you think that they're going to respect it, grasp it, or not understand it at all, you should put it out there for the wind to decide.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. But
and it's funny because it wasn't until I actually joined the Ancient Alien group on Facebook. Now, this is years later, obviously. In the meantime, before I even did that, before I even moved here to Minnesota, when I was living back home, in New York, I was always online searching for UFOs and, different other things. I actually talked to the space shuttle back when they were doing their first online talks.
That's cool. That's cool.
Unfortunately, they died. They were the ones that burnt up coming back.
Right.
But, I actually got to talk to them. I mean, this is how, in depth I was with this. I was part of SETI. I had my own computer that the SETI thing was set up. You probably seen it back in the day.
Yep.
But they were using my computer as one of the antennas, So this is what I was doing. This is how much I was into it. You know? Yeah. Right. Yeah, I actually went out and bought a computer just for that, just for the SETI setup,
That's awesome. That's really cool. I mean, like, to me, that stuff is it's right up my alley. You know what I mean? Like, I love space. Sure. Everything I talk about is space related, Space Force, CERN, and that extra, but these things have an effect that's, that's beyond just, let's just say it's beyond just like a superficial kind of effect. Like, this affected your soul. It affected your life. It affected your vibration.
Absolutely.
So you're resonating a lot higher than most people would. So your basic understanding and your ability to retain that knowledge is probably at a higher level because you've trained yourself over the years to retain this knowledge because you're interested in it.
To me, it's just second nature now. It's not, what I'm saying? It's just, because I'll get these flashes and stuff also still to this day. I'll think of something or I'll hear you ask a question or somebody in the group will ask a question and bang, I'll have the answer or what seems to be the answer or the most logical thing. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
If not, I will definitely find it, relatively quick, if you know what I mean, without much effort,
Right.
It's crazy, but that's how it works,
Sort of like a download. Almost like
basically,
a download,
absolutely. And I get it all the time. It's ridiculous,
Now, would you say that you're still actually getting that contact through that download? Would you say that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. Well, then that's what it is. You know what I mean?
Let me show you something. We're talking about, look at this.
555.
This is what I get every single day in and day out. Now what I do is I'll take this and I will screenshot it. Okay, there's my screenshot. Awesome. Now let me show you something. Let me show you this. This is crazy. Okay. People think I'm nuts when I mention this, but I'm going to show you this. Hang on.
I'm ready. I'm ready. Show us.
Well, I got to put the right pin in.
Well, of course.
I'm all jittery. I'm like talking about this. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Well, it's probably been a while since you've actually told the story, because we've been all in the same podcasts for so long that I've heard your story before, like I said, but to come on somewhere new and say it again is probably, it brings up memories. It brings up feelings.
It does. Absolutely.
It's not only, like I said, it's very psychological, but that's good, because every once in a while to re-explore that, it probably brings it home that this is what you're meant to do. This is where you're meant to be, and this is your mission, in a sense, maybe given to you by them, or maybe given to yourself by yourself. But it's your mission to get these types of answers out there for people who don't necessarily look for those answers, or maybe get them into something that's a little bit different from the normal, or not mainstream science.
Right.
And it did it for me. Look, I mean, I've always had an affinity with space and ufology, but when I started to call into your show and actually like really think about things, it made doing the research that much more fun for me. And now it's become a way of life to look into these subjects and really get to the root of what I understand them as, and what I can actually put out there and say, this is what I think. This is my truth to this subject.
Right.
So, and I owe that to you.
Thank you.
It's the truth. Like, Clarence, it's the truth. You're like my mentor here. I've had such a respect for you for so long that this show right here, this was actually one of the shows that I've been waiting to really do, because, I'm able to bring you onto my show as you did for me so many times. And it's incredible to me. It's full circle. And I think that this was like a meant to be connection that we're gonna basically take to the moon and back. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I want to show you this. Now I've been telling you about these numbers that I've been getting day after day after day, sometimes 2, 3, 4 times a day. Correct?
Right.
All right. Check this out. This is just only a couple months. I don't know if you can read these or not. I'll try to get them up here for you. I just want you to see.
Just looking at it, I see you got a whole like, you got like 15 or 16 of them. It's probably a lot more once you start scrolling too.
Watch this. Oh, come on now.
Oh, you did it. You did it. You touched it and it went sideways.
It went crazy on me here. Yeah.
That's usually what happens though. Technology could be fickle. That's for sure. We know that. Going live. We know that. I was trying to get on with Omar and Leonard the other day, and nothing was like going right for like the first 20 minutes, but that's incredible. And it's all different series of numbers. Have you ever looked up those numbers and see what they mean?
1111, 444. That one here's a small one.
Right.
1111. This goes on for at least 4 months, Rob. And this is almost every single day. 333s.
Have you had a way to decipher it at all?
I have not. I've never figured it out. And this is all random stuff. This is morning, AM, and PM. I mean, anytime, any given time of the day. All these are all different days. You can read the dates on them. I can I can show you all these. But 12/12s. Who gets 12/12s? 11/11.
I get 11/11 all the time.
Look at it, another 12/12. See,
but I never get 12/12. Be honest with you, I never get
10/10. See, there's a 10/10. You see, another 10/10. See, another 11/11. This is how often 555. This is how often I get these. Look at all these. This is ridiculous, right?
Right. There's got to be some kind of meaning behind it. There's some message there that maybe
I tell people this just freaks me out so badly. And it happens constantly. And it's like, what is the freaking message? What is going on here? A lot of 11/11s, did you notice?
I do.
222s.
A lot of 222s and 444s.
Yeah, there's another 111. See, a lot of 10/10s. Just crazy stuff. But that's just
incredible.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I do that. I screenshot them and I save them and I go back and I look at the dates and I try to correlate, the dates, different things like that. So it's still happening, and it never ends. It never ends.
Well, maybe that's what it's meant to be. Maybe you started, and until the end, this is what it's going to be. You're just going to get this, this connection with some other beings in that sense.
I wish I could tell it. I wish I knew what it was. Now I look it up on Google, but here's the kicker to this, right? Who gets the definition of what it really means? Who is it that has that power to say, well, this is what it means? You know what I'm saying?
They see, to me, you're right, because
where's the research behind it? It says this is definitely what these numbers mean.
Well, that's for sure. That's for sure. It could be anything. You know what I mean? There's really no way to say what it is, but the fact that you're documenting it, is a big deal, because later on down the line, maybe that will decode itself somewhere, and then you can go back and you have a whole dialogue.
I'm hoping so.
Of things to take care of.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now that we've gone into a lot of what of your contact, why don't you tell people about your show, what your main purpose is behind the show, and what messages you try and push out on your show?
Well, right now, what I've really been dealing with is debunking the bullshit.
Yeah.
And I hate doing it. And, you and I were talking earlier about a certain subject, and stuff like that. And I'm getting to the point where I'm like, you know what, if people can't decipher the truth from the bullshit, then let them go. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to fight them anymore. You know what I mean?
Right.
Obvious stuff is obvious stuff. I mean, as far as I'm concerned. But I still get these people, though, that, there's a deeper side to this. When you're talking about people like Sitchin, Dr. Greer, Corey Goody, things like this nature. I bring up their names, and, I've shown disprovement in these certain people, and different things that has happened. And either you follow me and you agree, or you don't. And I'm sorry for those that disagree with me on things, but hey, that is you. I mean, that's not, I'm not going to push the agenda on you and say this is what you need to do. No, I'm just showing you my opinion, how I feel about it. And if you believe it, you believe it. If you don't, you don't. You know what I'm saying?
Of course, of course. It's funny because a lot of people, and I've had this conversation with a ton of people, and you never really know who's fake or not in the sense of facts, but you can feel it. And when somebody is fake, to me, it does a disservice to the whole community, because there are people out there who are putting truth out, and whether it's their truth or not, they have stuff to back it up. In a sense, when you don't have stuff to really back it up, or any kind of proof, what happens is if you bring this out to mainstream people, and they can smell, as you say, the bullshit,
right?
It makes the whole community look bad, because now they're going to look at everybody who might be telling the truth, and they're going to say, well, that guy was bullshit, so you're probably bullshit too.
Well, see, and here's the problem with that, Rob.
It's a stigma.
Ufology has taken such a hard hit with that bullshit and fake people that it's so hard to give people the truth, because they think that you are like that person. You know what I'm saying? Just like you're saying, and that's what really bothers me. I can't live my whole life knowing what I know and have happened what's happened to me, and you know what I'm saying, and not try to give people the same deal.
Right. But then there's that guy who's, there's those people whose story is so far beyond made up that you and I both know that would never, ever, that wouldn't happen.
Exactly.
It just wouldn't happen. And you can smell it from the moment they open their mouth, because of their demeanor, the way that they are. And body language is a huge tell. Right. I don't care what anybody says. I've gone over so many different YouTube videos and books that describe body language down to the T. The body tells all. It really tells all.
Right.
So, but I commend you for trying to expose and debunk those people who aren't true, because it makes it better for everybody in the community that's trying to get a positive message out.
Well,
Because
I try to do it respectively, if you know what I'm saying.
with facts,
I'm not out there just to trash somebody, you know what I'm saying?
of course.
But when I get a lot of people coming to me and saying, what about this guy? What do you think about this guy? Did you hear what he said? Did you see what he did? And I'm like, oh, whoa, back up. Let me explain this to you. That's when I have to do a show and bring it out and say, okay, folks, here's your answer. My answer.
Right. Well, here's the other part of that too, is these people that we're talking about, these three men that we're talking about, they literally are doing it for the money.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, don't get me wrong.
Absolutely, yeah.
If I can make money, I have a subscription service for extra content. That's only to fund my operation. That's not to make hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Right.
But these people are making buku dollars.
And this is
to
the
put
problem.
Out this falsehood.
This is the big problem that I have with this kind of stuff, is the fact that I cannot, and I don't know how I can stress this, right?
When you go
through an ordeal such as I have,
right,
and you've lived this life that I have, I can't stand somebody faking their ordeal for monetary gain. You know what I'm saying? I don't ask anybody for a penny. I don't do this, to make money. I do this for absolutely free. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And for them to come out and charge people money to go to their conventions and go to all this other stuff and blab their bullshit, right, is totally wrong. And they're ruining this profession. The only ones that are left that are ever credible anymore, you can count on one hand. And they're old enough now where they're all starting to die off, if you know what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
It's sad. It's
absolutely sad. That's why, that's why I never profess to be a person of contact. I only report on what I know, because I don't want to, like people like you, that would be a slap in the face.
It is
for me to pontificate on something that I know nothing about in an experience type of way. Sure, I've got knowledge on it, but I'm never going to sit here and tell people, oh yeah, I've had contact. So if they asked me to do a convention and wanted to pay me, it would be on what I know, not what I've supposedly experienced. Right. And that's the difference. That's the difference. It's okay to make money. We're not saying that. What we're saying is that by lying and making that money is where you cross that line. That's a slap in the face.
And then calling it ufology. That's the kicker in the ass.
It should be fictionology.
Exactly.
It should be.
Exactly. Science fiction. That's where it should be put. Right. Science fiction. Don't put it in mainstream ufology. And it doesn't belong there.
That's a slap in the face to somebody like you who's had to deal with this experience their whole life and had these repercussions that actually affected your life.
Absolutely.
That's a dick move. That's a dick move.
It is. Absolutely. And people don't understand that. See, and when they see my show or they see your show and whatever, and they step back and they go, oh, well, they're just playing YouTube and they're just playing Facebook games, or whatever. They're trying to be big on these shows and try to get tons of followers. Go look at my channels, folks. I don't have thousands of subscribers, okay? It doesn't matter to me whether people subscribe or not. When I go on Facebook, especially like with Omar and Rob and these guys and stuff like that, my stuff is worldwide. I've showed this to you a few times where I got thousands of viewers. I could care less about the subscriptions, but it's the message that's getting out and the people that are listening to me and watching me. That's where it counts as far as I'm concerned. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And that's how it works, and there's places in this world that are listening to my show. I can't even pronounce their names. You know what I mean? They're so, and
I'm going to tell you what that is. We have a saying in New York called real recognize real, which means that people recognize genuine people. And when the people put that stuff out there, they want to watch them. And you know what? I'm not going to lie and sit here and say that, I hope I do get a lot of followers. And I hope I do have a lot of people. But only because I want to put a message out there and I want to educate people. Not for anything other than spreading a message that this is what's going to be declassified very shortly. This is what we've been talking about for years now.
Well, I hope so, but
is going to come out. And when it does, people are going to say, well, how did you get ahead of the ball like that? Because we did the work.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
It's not easy to put these shows on and to do this research. That's another reason why I asked for those subscriptions. We have to work and make money. So if I can sit here and give you everything that you've ever wanted to know on a YouTube channel while getting paid to do it because I enjoy doing it and you enjoy listening to it, then it's a good harmonic relationship.
Absolutely.
So that's how I try. I'm trying to build an audience to get a message out there that may not be told in regular magazines, regular newspapers, because people deserve to hear that too, you know?
But well, here's the thing about disclosure, and I'm going to tell you this right now. Don't look forward for government to give it to you, okay? If it's going to happen, and I say if, all right, it's a big, big if, it's not going to be by the government or anybody in the government, okay? It's going to be by regular people like you and I that happen to be in the right spot at the right time with the right equipment in their hand to be able to document, take real photographs, be able to do whatever, and or they are going to expose themselves. And there it is. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So just be ready for the later to actually happen first, I do believe. But don't quote me on that. I'm just saying.
Well, it's a fact. That's a fact. And, you know, it's funny because there's people in the comments right now that are saying things that, you know, make no difference. And he knows who he is, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? If you don't like the product that we put out, you can just leave. You don't have to be here. Nobody's forcing you to be here. But you decided to stay an hour in, and now you want to say things. But that's okay. You know what? We're not gonna stoop to his level. It's fine. Yeah. But you know, it's people like that think that they know better, as opposed to having an open mind and saying, well, maybe this guy's right too, or maybe that guy's right. Instead of sitting here and learning something, they want to try and push on you what they believe, and that's fine, you know. But this isn't the place for that. This is a place where we explore.
Exactly, that's what it is. Explore,
and we throw it around, and you know, and I'm sorry that's not something that you can get on board with. But at the same time, you know, I don't want to be rude, but at the same time, it's okay. You know, just go about your business, and we'll be fine. You know.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's almost an hour now, and Clarence, I want to get these people to where they can find you again. You know what I mean? I feel like, you know, you've done a lot for me, and I want people to see where you can get to Clarence. This is where his Facebook page is, and you can basically like and follow that. You can also subscribe to his YouTube channel. After this, we're going to be doing another half hour for the subscription people, and anybody who wants to join the subscriptions, I'm going to put that stuff up for you right now. We're actually not going to project the Patreon anymore because we don't know if Patreon's going to be here very shortly.
Yeah, I heard that today.
So what we're going to do is we're going to put up the Subscribe Star, and these people can look for only, just a quick advertisement, for only $2 a month. You can have every video that we put out, and there is a lot of extra content that's going up on Subscribe Star every day. So if it's something that you're interested in, for only $2, we also have other subscription levels that'll get you more, as in, if we go to the top tiers, you also have a say in what we actually talk about on the show. So it'll be an interactive show. You can actually dictate what we do research on, and it's almost as if we're working for you. Another thing I want to say, we also have another level of small business. If you have a small business, we also have a monthly subscription that we will actually talk about your small business on air whenever we're on, every episode. So, you know, that's where you can find Clarence, and this is also where you can, along the bottom there is where you can find all the subscription for Subscribestar. Clarence, do you have any closing comments, closing things you want to say before we go to the extra half hour? I mean, we do have a lot of people on right now. I'm willing to stay on for a little bit longer if you want to talk some more.
Well, I just want people, you know, to lighten up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Kick back and relax a little bit. You know, join these groups that you can find, you know, with ufology and stuff, and get bits of information from everybody, not just, you know, one or two groups, or, you know, or one or two podcasters or whatever. You know, join as many as you can. Get all the information you can, you know. And if you've had experience, learn to talk about it, you know. come to folks like us and whatever. We will listen to you, obviously. I mean, that's what we're about. Now, we were talking earlier about, when I first came out of the closet, so to speak, on this ordeal. It wasn't until I joined the Ancient Alien group that Matthew Bowers runs did I ever write out my actual story. That's the first time it actually come out, and I felt overwhelmed about it. But once I did it, wow, I don't mind talking about it anymore. It doesn't scare me. I've heard it all. I've seen it all. You know what I'm saying? As far as the ridicule and all that stuff, and it just bounces off.
Right.
I don't care anymore, whether you believe it or not. So that's, that's how it is.
Of course, and and here's the other thing too. And there's no judgment here, and
Right.
people who judge, it is what it is. Those are the people you don't want to be around. So
Right.
and they also say though, if you don't get some hate, you're not making waves. So it goes both ways, But
well, sometimes it works that way. I mean, sometimes you strike a nerve with somebody because you are putting the truth out there that they hate you so much for doing that. You know what I'm saying? That they will go and try to destroy you just because you are telling the truth. You know what I mean?
oh, that's for sure.
It happens. Honest to God, it does
Absolutely.
happen.
Absolutely. And if we could leave on one message, the one thing I want to say before we go is that, like I said, if you have some kind of experience or some kind of knowledge, this is the forum to drop it, to let people know about it. You will find people who feel the same way you do. You'll be able to form a bond with those people, which is what we have done, as in me, you, Omar, and Leonard. We've all formed a bond by doing what we love, but also receiving and giving and making information bounce off of each other to perfect what we're telling people. So if there's one thing I could advise to you, put it out there and see what you get. You will get like-minded people. And with that, I think we're going to close it here. Facebook, I'm sorry. YouTube, I'm sorry. You got to go. But we're going to go to the subscription side. And anybody who wants to subscribe, it'll be on the subscription tomorrow. And we hope everybody stays safe with the tornado going up and down the East Coast right now.
Ooh.
And that's it, man. This is the show. Disclosure is here. And his name is Clarence Mitchell. All right. Thank you all very much. And we'll see you soon.
Thank you, Rob.